Hello, and welcome to Broads and Books. I'm Amy.
And I'm Erin, and this is episode number 96, Bad Bitches.
Bad Bitches. So this is a song by Marshmello and Megan Thee Stallion.
Mason is a big Marshmello fan, I will tell you that.
Like the food or the singer?
Both.
Oh,
Both.
okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to tell you first, if you haven't heard the song, the lyrics of the song are basically the same line over and over and over again, which is, are you ready for the bad bitches? And the answer is yes.
And it should tell you something that we need a whole song saying it over and over again. You should be scared by the end. Because, like, what's the level you're bringing if you have to ask me that many times? Like, no, but really, are you ready?
Are you ready? Because
I don't think you are.
I don't think you are.
I'm looking at you and you are not ready.
I like also that Megan Thee Stallion breaks in at one point. It's just like, where's the hot girls at? Where the hot boys at? So we're on theme.
Yes.
Here, you know?
On point.
Yes.
Because if there's one thing that people tune in when they start a Broads and Books episode, they're like, where the hot girls at? We're like, we're right here talking about books.
That's exactly why people turn in.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So this week we're talking about bad bitches.
Bad bitches.
That's all there is to it. And it's a great theme.
Take it as you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Take it as you will.
Well, so first off,
yeah,
let's think about the word bitch.
Let's
talk about it.
Let's talk about that word.
Erin, are you offended if someone calls you a bitch?
Not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think I used to be. Like,
I think I did too.
There's something unlikable about me or something. And now usually if someone's calling me a bitch, it's because they didn't like something I did. And usually, right or wrong, I'll stand behind what I did. So I guess whatever. And sometimes actually someone calling me a bitch feels like I've accomplished something.
Right.
Like, oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, I am in your head, aren't I?
Well, remember when Tina Fey said on SNL's Weekend Update, like, bitches get shit done.
Yes.
And people get mad at bitches for that reason.
Exactly. Yes.
I always, in the past, I didn't like it because I felt like then I was being too much.
Right.
Like,
right.
You know, like, oh God, I'm breaking outside of what I should be doing. And now I realize it's much more about the person calling you a bitch than it is about you. It's that person trying to make you feel small.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it almost is sort of like a point of pride for me now. Like, am I?
Yes,
damn right. Yeah, I am a bitch.
And how would we define bad bitch versus just bitch?
Well, I feel like sometimes you're just being a bitch. Like there's a difference, or like I feel like there's a connotation sometimes that happens when you do get something done and somebody else doesn't like it, or they perceive that they should have done it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes this tends to be male, more male energy.
You say so?
Yeah.
Like I agree. Uh-huh.
So I don't think that they say you're a bad bitch. I just think that that's more the feeling that I'm getting from it. Like, oh yeah, you don't like what I just did you? Because I did it better than you. I did it faster than you.
Because I know what I'm doing, bitch.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think Lizzo helped us take that term back.
Yes, yeah.
100% that bitch.
I'm not always 100%, but I think that's part of being a bitch. I know when I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
Today I might be 75% a bitch.
That's right.
And that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
I will get to Lizzo point where I can bring my 100 all the time.
And some days it's not going to
have it.
We'll get there, Lizzo. We promise.
Yeah.
Don't be disappointed in us. We're getting there.
In fact, I lied before. Some days I'm like 10% that bitch. Like I barely have that.
Some days I'm a 0.00.
Yeah. Some days my big toe is that bitch, and the rest of me is like, we're nothing. We got nothing.
Some days my uterus is just controlling it, and so I don't feel like a bitch at all.
No. My body's like, I can't match that big toe energy.
Precisely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely is the best response. Okay, so I mean, this is kind of on topic, a bad bitch. Like sometimes I think of like a fight situation.
Absolutely.
So have you ever been tempted to learn the skills necessary to defend yourself in a physical way?
First off, I want to know what the name of that move you just did was. It was just like arms flailing.
Erin's martial arts.
If I could take your martial arts, yes. What I end up doing is because, yes, I think about this all the time. I have taken karate classes in the past.
Get it.
But here's where I'm at in the last 10 years or so. I get real excited. I look up a local class for, jujitsu or kickboxing or something.
Oh,
I am excited.
Okay.
Muay Thai, I'm ready to go.
I thought that was a drink.
Then I reach out to the gym, I set up a day for orientation, and then I ghost on that day. Because here's why. I love the idea of it, but I hate groups. Mm-hmm. I hate activities. Mm-hmm. I hate pairing off, I hate the entire awkwardness of the whole class. And other people don't experience this, but I do. I get so worked up by it, so anxious by it, that I'm just like, oh God, I can't do that.
What
oh my God. Yeah. So it's a repeated pattern where I think, yeah, I'm going to be Sydney Bristow. Yeah, I'm going to be the bride from Kill Bill. And then when it comes to the day, I'm like, yep, nope, not going to do it.
But, if I could be 100% that bitch for a
Yes,
minute.
please.
It could also be a way that you're getting a little bit of gratification in your life. Like, I'm going to do that. And then that day you're like, guess what? I'm not going to do that.
That's a good point.
Because how good do you feel in that hour when you're supposed to be there?
I feel, at first I would feel ashamed. More and more I feel elated. Like, I don't have plans. I can go take a nap.
Yeah. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I used to feel like down on myself, like, why do I keep doing this? And now I just know it's just part of me.
Yeah.
I hate all this shit.
It just is what it is.
I just want it to be like the Matrix where they upload the programming into my head so I don't have to actually learn it. It just is there. And then I'm automatically a Kung Fu master.
Yes.
But until we get there, I'm just going to keep ghosting.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I fully support your decision to ghost.
Erin, when do you feel the most badass and when do you feel the least?
It's actually kind of combined. Okay, so usually when I work out something, this is usually work related. Like I solve a problem or I feel like I kind of put someone in their place, like, no, that is not how this is going to go. Like this is how this is going to go. I always have that moment where I'm like, yeah, took care of stuff. And then I also have, naturally, because it's built into my DNA, I have that moment where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have acted like that.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. So then I have this moment where I picture myself kicking down a door and then immediately my ankle hurts. Like, I shouldn't have done any of that.
I should have stretched before I was a badass.
Yeah, because stretching is going to solve the problems that I have with kicking down doors.
That's so true.
Yeah.
There is that moment of like, God damn, I showed them. And they're like, oh, God, they're going to hate me.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though I despise this person usually. Yeah.
Yeah. That's our terrible female socialization coming up again.
It is.
And I don't like it.
No. Because sometimes you just have to.
You have to kick down that door.
Yeah.
Even if you have a hurt ankle afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can give you a small example
of
something that happened in the last week.
Yeah.
So we had an outing for a company. We had to sponsor something. And another competitor of ours happened to be there. And they came through and they asked if they could take ice out of my cooler for his individual drink.
Get your own damn
and
ice.
I was like, there's people around. So I was like, sure. And then I just very awkwardly stared at him while he was doing it. And then I was like, I let other people pee in there. And he had no idea what to do with that information. Like, he took the ice and he was just kind of looking at me and, walking away, but also kind of had that look like, oh, how distasteful. But in my head, I was like, I hope the whole time you drink that, you wonder if it's urine.
Is that urine? Yeah. Is that urine?
And it was just a personal moment. And I really, for that minute, I could have kicked a door down. And then 20 minutes later, I was like, was that kind of immature? That was kind of low.
But here's the thing. If a guy had done that, he wouldn't think, was that immature?
Yeah.
Was that low? He'd be like, yeah. Yeah. So as we've said before, we need to better go through life with the confidence of a mediocre white male.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I admit, maybe not my finest moment, but man, I enjoyed it at the moment.
Yeah.
I really did.
That's
I really
perfect.
did.
Yeah.
Because also there was something about the audacity of asking me for ice that sort of felt kind of, there's other people around, so I was kind of not in a position to be like, no, it's keeping our drinks cold.
Would you say that this company is your nemesis?
Yes, in a way, yes, very much so.
I kind of like having a nemesis.
They've undercut us on quite a few things, purposely found out things and then yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They deserve your full ire and urine-soaked ice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also really despise their branding and logo, so I felt like it was a win that I didn't say, your logo's stupid. I felt like that was a win. I just went with urine. Because when you're dealing with a mediocre white man, middle school humor.
That's where you get. Yeah, that's where you go.
Far.
Yeah, because he's not going to care about the logo.
No, he's gonna be like, "What? What's a logo?"
He's going to care if his ice has the taste of ammonia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to ice down my mixed drink I have. What? Stop
Ew.
it. Stop it. Stop it. You're not
Gross.
drinking right if it's got this it's gotten warm.
Yeah.
Just saying. Man up. I'm just kidding. I would never say that. That was a little just in context.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move on,
yeah,
I do want to point out one thing because I thought of it immediately because you came up with this great song idea.
Yeah.
Talking about Megan.
Yeah. And Megan Thee Stallion is a bad bitch.
The Stallion. So she got shot in the foot. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
Refused to say who did it.
And when was this? Was it last year?
I think it was like last summer.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe last spring. Yeah. Refused to say who did it.
Right.
Okay. Then this person decided to write a rap song, like he was a rapper, and claim that he didn't do it. So she's been silent about it. Then he comes out with a song, and then she's like, oh, no. Okay, now wait a minute. I wasn't going to rat you out because I didn't want the police presence. I didn't want all of that. But you can't go around making money off the fact that you didn't do it.
And why did you even bring it up when I'm not bringing it up?
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you bring it up? So then she was just like, yeah, no, it happened. But like in a super low key, like, yeah, no, that happened. But just won't really say anything else about it. And I think that might be the most badass move ever.
Yeah.
But is that the way you would handle it?
I probably would have been very intimidated by the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you shot me in the foot.
You shot me in the foot. I'm still maybe a little bit scared of you.
Yeah.
Did I say scared?
Scared. I think it works.
You know what I mean. Yeah. I applaud her for real because, I think I would be afraid. I think I would be so just aghast at the audacity of the dude.
Yeah.
That it would take me a while to figure out what to do.
Yes.
I love that, she recognized that she had the power to take back this narrative and be like, you're not going to spread shit about me. That's not true. And that she went ahead and did it. But also that she decided she didn't have to share the story in the first place. This was her story to tell.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think that it's ever really been clear what the context of it was, if it was an accident, if it wasn't. I kind of think post-story as it came out that it sort of gave the idea that maybe it wasn't entirely an accident.
Right.
I do like... Because I am one of those people that believes that revenge is a dish best served cold.
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't think you should see it coming.
Yeah.
And I love the psychological warfare with it.
Absolutely.
And I think she's a much bigger person than I am. Because what I would have done is stayed silent, but then reminded that person every day that I have this sort of story and power. So what are you doing about that?
Yeah, what are you going to do
today?
With this? Ooh.
What have you brought to my feet today? To lay before me, because I don't know if you remember, you shot me in the foot.
You shot my foot.
You shot me in the foot.
And I don't know if you noticed, but I am a badass. I am everywhere.
Seriously.
I have, this is
I've
my
got
moment.
some star power. You, not so much.
Not so much.
So, also, if you're trying to get street cred as a rapper by shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot.
Bad move, buddy.
Bad move. You need to fire your PR team.
So, in short... She's a bad bitch.
So
I love
much.
what she did. I wish that I would have the presence of mind and capability to do the same thing.
Yes.
But I'm really liking your idea as well.
Yeah. But I also recognize her taking back the narrative, I think, was really important. But it's also a sad statement.
It is.
That she had to think about the bigger picture.
Yes.
Over, being able to just say, this is what happened.
This is what we always have to do. Any kind of assault, we have to think, what's this going to do to the other person?
Right. Yeah. He was such a promising young rapper.
Ugh.
Ugh. And not to say that there aren't other dynamics at play there, but
yeah,
saying.
for sure.
Just taking on face value. I mean,
it's a great story to lead us into bad bitches. Because she is a bad bitch.
She is.
And we are aspiring to be 100% bad bitches.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to get shot in the foot.
No.
Okay.
I don't want that to happen either. That doesn't have to be a prerequisite.
I hope not.
For bad bitchery.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I just, sorry. I was just looking at my notes and I just realized that I said my notes at the top say bad bitches. I was like, that's not a word. And I was like, what was I trying to write? Bitches. But
bitches.
Bitches.
Yeah. You forgot the C.
Bad bitches.
Bad bitches.
And that sums up me right there. Can't even say the word.
That also reminds me of just looking at your notes and be like, what the hell is this? I don't understand.
What did I
Like when I
write?
leaned to you once and I said, my notebook just says cat. And I don't know why. What was this from? Why did I just write the word cat?
That was amazing. And I looked down, and it was sideways.
It was.
It wasn't on a line. It was just sort of off, like cat.
Right.
And I'm like, do you need another cat?
Oh, God, no. That's not.
Was that a reminder?
I don't know.
That you were supposed to do something for a cat? It wasn't specific.
I mean.
It also wasn't plural.
No, it wasn't. It just said cat.
It was also, which is odd for you because I know you. It was also like randomly on a page in your notebook, which is not your style.
No.
You are in order. You're
Yes.
very organized. You're very, like, your notes are very well documented.
There have been times when I've tried to, like, because, you know, there's those moments before bed or when you wake up or when you wake up in the middle of the night or you first wake up where you have an idea and you try and write it out. Or at least I was trying to do that for a while.
Yeah.
But each time I would just return back and be like, these aren't words. What is this? What is this?
What was I talking about?
So I wonder if I just woke up and wrote cat? On the notebook.
It was going to be
Who
a great
knows?
story. It's going to be a great story, and now it's nothing. Now it's just a weird moment in your notebook. Maybe you should just tear that part out and frame it somewhere. And people be like, what is that? Is that... You decide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is art.
This is art.
And this is how you respond to it.
Like that invisible statue that sold this week for millions of dollars or something.
What? I didn't know about that.
The artist says it's invisible, and somebody bought it.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. I fear for humanity sometimes.
So afraid. So afraid. I also like want to double back and think about the conversation of whoever bought that and like whoever they go are responsible to, whether that's like their accountant or whoever. Like someone at some point knew that they wrote this check for this amount. Banker,
yeah,
significant other, whatever. And
didn't
just that
put
conversation.
a stop to it.
Yeah, like you went through with it. I thought that was a joke. When you sent me that snap, I thought that was a joke. That's a real step.
That's a real thing?
You think that's a real step?
That's okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I don't have time to deal with this today, but
you know what? What doesn't make me fear for humanity is some of our picks.
I know.
I mean, I
right?
love talking about books.
I do.
It always restores my faith in humanity.
It does.
Yes.
Yes.
So does the first fiction pick
Okay.
of this episode, which is called, and hang on because this is a long title.
Oh, okay.
Fierce Femmes and Notorious Liars, a dangerous trans girl's confabulous memoir by Kai Cheng Tom from 2016. So let's start with that title. Okay. It says it's a memoir. It's not. This is a novel. So it's part of the sort of reality bending of this book. It starts right away.
Okay.
It's framed as a memoir, but it is a novel. And this tells the story of a young Chinese trans girl who runs away from a shitty home to a city, and we're kind of believing that the city is somewhere in Canada. Mm-hmm. And she announces right away the kind of thing that you'll find throughout the book. She announces to the reader that she is filled with bees that signal her anxiety. And she has a ghost friend that she has sexual relations with. And she has kung fu skills from her dad. So she has all of these parts of her that you're like, is that real? Is that real? Is it true? Okay, let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Right.
So once she makes it to the city, she finds her chosen family, who are a group of femmes living in the sort of pleasure district, red light district called Street of Miracles. And they do sex work, they do other work, and our main character learns how to live as her true self. So we meet each of these characters, and all are incredibly larger than life. There's Kimaya, who's sort of a guardian angel mother figure for this whole group. There's Valeria, who's known as the goddess of war. There's Dr. Crocodile, who helps the girls in their confirmation surgeries, but is a super creep in exchange. Many more characters that you will find in love. But then, when she's in the city, one of their girls, one of their femme friends, is murdered. And so the group forms a vigilante gang, fighting back against the corrupt cops, the violent dudes, the transphobic assholes that frequent this Street of Miracles. And they are called the Lipstick Lacerators.
Wow.
It's a terrific name.
It is.
So I chose this book for this theme because these are bad bitches.
Yes.
And in the sense of bad, because from the viewpoint of religious zealots and transphobes, of course, trans girls are going to be bad. Mm-hmm. But also the sense of bad as badass, fighting against the way that the world is. Mm-hmm. And as the story goes on, our main character and her group really have to think through like what they're doing. You know, is this violence that they're enacting as the lipstick lacerators. Is this justified? Is it sustainable? What's it doing to them? Can they ask for something better? Do they have to keep going in this, circle of violence? And so I love that. I love the story. I love that it dabbles along the way with a sort of magical realism. I love that you're never quite sure what's going to happen next. I love that this fuses the real world with, this otherness, this other reality. And she ultimately, the author, calls this a dangerous story. And to me, that's bad bitch stuff.
Yeah.
Bad bitchery 101.
At its highest.
And it's the kind of writing in the books that we love.
Amazing.
So this is a slim book. You can get through it pretty quickly, or you can savor it.
Savor it.
Savor it? Mm-hmm. It's delightful. It's bad bitches.
I mean, I feel like, you started us off right.
Mm-hmm.
It fits.
With a long title. I almost want to do a character count because that's a
title.
long ass title.
That is a title. Mm-hmm. Well, my pick this week is a different kind of bad bitch in a way that we often hear women refer to as bad bitches in kind of a boss role.
Oh.
Okay, this is called The Herd by Andrea Bartz. And this was published in March of 2020. So obviously came out pre-pandemic, or, it was written pre-pandemic, when co-working spaces were on a huge uprise. Especially female-centered co-working spaces were kind of having a moment. So this is where our story starts. Enter The Herd, an elite woman-only workspace in New York that has exclusive membership and a waiting list that is quite long. And Katie is just hoping to get in, and probably normally wouldn't be their type. She's just returned from a long assignment in the Midwest. She's a writer, a journalist. But her sister happens to be best friends with the lady that started The Herd and then one of the other major founders. So she kind of grew up around them because her sister and her aren't that far apart. So she feels like she has an in, like this is going to be no problem. So as she dives deeper into the culture, she realizes that maybe she's a little too close to see the truth of what this group actually is or what is actually going on behind the scenes, because there starts to be this vibe of exclusivity to a weird degree, and you only can be a certain type of person, and there's this need to always be on the top no matter who you step on.
Why do we always gotta fuck up good ideas?
I know, because the space itself the book opens and one of the spaces has been vandalized, which they're trying to figure out how. It had to be an inside job because it's members only. You have to have a code to get in, and they have like special different rooms. They have like a massage room, they have a yoga room, they have like where you can try new makeup room, they have all these different things. So they're trying to kind of break it down and figure out how this happened. And the main person that's running it she's beside herself because she doesn't want the publicity. She's trying to take this whole thing public with an IPO. So there's all these things happening. And I'll tell you that it quickly delves into a murder mystery, which is fascinating. But what I loved about this book is, separate even from that, is just this idea that, especially when I think of bad bitches, I think females get wrapped up, especially ones that work their ass off to get to where they are. They get this label sometimes that isn't justified. But then there are people out there that get that label and it's justified, and they haven't really done anything to get there.
Yeah.
And they make the rest of us look bad because they just rise up and they expect this certain amount of glory for that. And this is a really interesting look from the inside out about how exclusivity can go so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it seems great, and then it can, take this turn, no matter what great intentions it started with.
Right. This idea of like supporting women, entrepreneurs, like helping them out, and then creating this whole system of exclusion and rules. Again, gotta fuck it up.
Yeah. Like that Katie's concerned the whole time that she isn't going to get in, even though basically she's grown up with them. She was in their weddings. Like, it should be a slam dunk, but it's just not quite. Like, she's just not quite. They don't think she's quite what people want to have there, and they're not sure if they want a journalist at their cocktail hours, and so it's this. It takes on this interesting life, but I think that's kind of the magic of it. Is it's a very interesting look on the inside, and like, this could go really right, and here's some ways that maybe there's some missteps or it went wrong. So I enjoyed it for that. I think the writing's killer. I loved the actual storyline. There's some twists and surprises in there that you don't see coming. And what I like about it is that it's focused not on the fact that a woman achieves something and that's what makes her a bad bitch. But it sort of takes the focus back and be like, no, there's times that people just suck and they maybe need other people to knock them down a peg.
Yeah.
So, and I like that, taking the focus back and not just saying just because this person succeeded, that's why they are one, but because maybe they stepped on a bunch of people to get there.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was terrific.
Was it real good?
It was real good. It was real good.
It made me think when you said that it started to go into like murder mystery territory. I started thinking about how there's this sort of trope in mysteries and in horror of like the final girl. And the one girl left, the girl that fights the killer or whatever and survives. Do we think that's a bad bitch, or do we think that's just like a guy like looking at this and like, let's make a girl awesome by surviving
horrible
this.
Things.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I can get there. I think it's a combo, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's confusing about the term bad bitch a lot, is that it is usually a combo. Like, unfortunately, women are always going to be in the position that things that they do get labeled as bitchy.
Yeah.
Even if they're not, even if they're just taking care of business or doing what they need to do. And then there are times that they're going to get that label just because of the circumstances they're in. Like, okay,
yeah.
a murderer was after me. I had to run away.
Right.
Like, and now, I've
or
got
dude with
this...
a chainsaw was after me and I killed him.
Yeah. And I just didn't fall into the other tropes of like, running into a locked room.
Right.
So I got killed really easily, So yeah, I think that that's a difficult... You could look at it both ways. Like, they are a bad bitch, but then also they're sort of written to be that way.
Yeah.
And it sort of feels like a take on it of like, oh, look she survived.
How cute.
That's a bad bitch,
It makes me think too of like sometimes when the idea of a bitch or a bad bitch like is, I don't want to say co-opted, but sometimes co-opted by a dude like writing something. Then it turns into trite stuff like boss bitch and like
that's
bitch
what I was gonna say.
like that
Yes.
kind of stuff where it's like almost it's celebrating them but also denigrating them at the same time.
Yes,
it's
like it's such an anomaly that we have to make a thing like you're a boss lady.
Yes. Oh my God, I hate that stuff.
Those two words don't go together.
No.
I'm a boss, I'm a lady. It doesn't need to be like
Yeah.
put all in one. I hate that. That is actually a huge pet peeve. Or like boss bitch. Like,
yes.
oh yeah, no, I don't need.
No,
that's not
stop
a thing.
Because then you're making me smaller in some way, or you're making me like
oh, what an
special.
anomaly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And
when
not
really
just the norm. Because you would never say. Can you imagine walking into a guy's office and it says boss man? And you'd be like, oh, that's weird.
I just immediately envisioned Michael Scott from The Office.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Boss asshole. Like that is on
Right.
a plaque.
Dick boss.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
that's not a thing. People are like, that's not appropriate or funny.
Right.
But somehow, if you are, it's like world doesn't know what to do with it. So we're just going to give it this title to make it sort of cutesy instead of just saying, no, it's just a person that's
like
in charge
look
of
at
people
this
getting
girl,
things done.
Yeah, working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, ugh.
Instead of just recognizing that their qualities, no matter of gender, that people can have that put them in leadership roles sometimes, But we view them so differently, and then we have to make this weird little title. Like, it kind of reminds me of cat lady. Like, just because I have cats and I'm a lady doesn't mean I'm a cat lady.
Right.
Like,
and these days
I'm not a pillow lady. I have a lot of throw pillows. Nobody's given me a little plaque that says pillow lady. I love pillows because I do. I do love them.
Oh my God, you're
Child
right.
lady. She collects childs. I mean, what? Tomato lady. She loves them. Like, why are we adding these things? It's so annoying.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go on owning bad bitch.
Yes.
As well as cat lady.
Yes.
And just go for it.
I say
it's
we
just
just
who
start
I am.
putting whatever we want in front of lady.
Yeah.
Tired lady. Yes. Nailed it.
Hungry lady.
Library lady. Loves to read lady.
Depressed lady.
Crying in the shower lady. Emotionally unstable lady.
I want to see all these hashtags like boss bitch, crying in the shower lady, emotionally unstable. That'd be great.
It would be so great. Oh, yeah, that I might actually put that sign up
Right.
if somebody gave me that.
Yeah. All the others. Nope. Big negatory.
And you know what else makes me mad about that? Is because actually when someone, particularly a male, calls you a boss lady or a boss bitch, what they're really saying is you are emotionally unstable lady. They don't know what to do. You seem volatile and crazy. Like a little volcano that's going to go off.
And it feels like the next question is, are you on your period?
Right.
Yeah.
Does anything make you want to claw someone's eyes out more?
It also comes from that notion, like Hannah Gadsby said in her most recent comedy special, that like dudes don't have hormones. Yeah. Everyone has hormones.
Yes.
You're making hormones like a thing with emotions. And
yes.
she's like, dudes, you get testy. Yeah. Think about your behavior.
Yeah, you're weaponizing hormones that I have no control over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Can we get back to some bad bitches now?
Yes.
All right.
I'm sorry. That was off track.
No. We had to have that discussion.
Yeah, we did.
But now I'm going to gear us back into bad bitchery.
Okay, do it.
With the other genre book, which is Leaving Isn't the Hardest Thing by Lauren Hough from 2021. This is a book of essays. And I loved this. And I think I mentioned it to you as like, holy shit, like you need to read this. So this feels like a voice we don't hear from very often in memoir and nonfiction. Working class, gay in the military, spent time in jail, survived the Children of God cult. There's a lot going on here. So here's a few examples of essays that appear here. It starts off with an essay on Lauren being an airman in the late 1990s and getting kicked out because this is the don't ask, don't tell era. And she is getting continual threats on her life. Like her car is even exploded or bombed. And
I like it better.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her car is even bombed by one of her fellow people, but they blame her and use it as a way to kick her out because they find out she's gay.
What?
Okay. There's an essay on her being a cable guy for 10 years. The insane people she meets, the very super kind blue collar folks who tip her, the sexual predators that she meets on a daily basis, and what like manual work does to a body, you know, like how it starts breaking her down. And I love that throughout she keeps talking about basically what I remember from 10 years of being a cable guy is always having to pee. Because she can't pull over on the road and just piss in the bushes like dudes might, you know, and she can't like ask a lot of these people to use their bathroom because they're creepy as fuck. Okay. There's an essay on leaving the Children of God cult and how she felt like she never really left because for years afterwards, she couldn't find anyone who understood. It didn't feel real, you know, but it sort of printed itself on her body because she kept having panic attacks and depression. And once she left, you know, she'd never had any schooling. There was no way to like move up in this world where we think, oh, you can just easily move up. Like she, you know, there was nothing for it but to just try and scrounge. Also, the cult itself. Holy shit. Like, we've heard of this one as where a few celebrities have come from. Like, I think River Phoenix came from this one. Rose McGowan, maybe too.
Yeah.
This was a sex cult before NXIVM that involved kids. Real dark stuff. There's another essay on Lauren being a bouncer at a gay club and how there are massive layers of privilege and discrimination where even white gay guys can be super problematic against women, against gay men of color, you know, just really digging into that world. There's an essay on being in jail and solitary confinement and how she digs into how there's really two systems of justice in this country. Yeah. And so many people were there because they couldn't afford the bail to get out or they couldn't afford the tickets to, you know, resolve the penalty. And then there's an essay on dating a Republican woman.
Oh my gosh.
What's great too is, you know, these sound like sort of discrete essays, but they're not. They all build on each other. You know, she's always talking about some of the things that she learned from the cult growing up. She's always talking about her life, you know, just working in manual labor. Like they all fit together into this, you know, beautiful collection that really inform each other. And it's touching stuff, it's hard stuff, but it is funny too. She is really funny to read. So I chose it for this theme because I feel like this is the epitome of a bad bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
She is a survivor. And I think that's one element that we don't think about a lot with bad bitches, but you survive some shit and you are stronger for it. I don't know if I want to say you're stronger for it because that can almost seem cliche, but you know, you find ways to make yourself stronger.
Right.
And she's very honest. She's very vulnerable. There's also another angle that I discovered after reading. So I went on Goodreads to add this, and I discovered there's a very low rating on this book. And I was like, what the hell?
Oh, no.
So I started looking.
Oh, no.
And there are so many 1-star reviews from people who admitted they didn't even read it. Just that they didn't like her on Twitter.
Oh, no.
So I dug deeper, and it looks like when this came out, she made a bad move on Twitter by like calling out a specific review and saying like they just didn't get it, that kind of thing. The things that you're cautioned against as an author.
Okay.
Right. She did that, and she enraged people who spend a lot of time on Goodreads and people on book Twitter. And so they actively rating bombed her on Goodreads. And there's some more back and forth on Twitter, which didn't help. So she took a Twitter break for a while. But there's still all these terrible reviews on Goodreads. So I wanted to say that because if you go on Goodreads, if you use that, you might be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
So shitty system. Also, you know, I think knowing this background, reading this outside of it, because I think she's such an engaging writer. She's a great storyteller, and just such a bad bitch for laying it all out there.
Yeah.
And then pushing past all this stupid Goodreads bullshit.
And I was just going to say that that's a good thing to bring up about Goodreads in general, is that I think that, and I have that tendency still sometimes, I think we want to justify our feelings a lot. We always want to feel like we're not alone in them. And so sometimes when I really, really don't like a book, I'm always looking at the reviews thinking, what did I miss? Am I not smart enough to get this? What did I not, you know? Or if I really, really like it and other people don't, I'm like, oh, what? And I think we've talked about it before. I think that's part of our purpose with this podcast. You like what you like.
You like what you like.
If you love that book and everybody else hates it, who cares?
Yeah.
You got something out of it. And you know what? That author wrote to you. And that is perfect and wonderful and exactly what it's supposed to be. It reminds me of the conversation with A.E. Osworth. We need more books, not less.
Not less.
So you're going to find books you just don't like and other people love them. And that's great.
It's
if we all
totally
liked
fine.
the same books, we're fucked because we're now living in like a communist world. Where we're being told exactly what to read.
Like.
Yeah. So it's wonderful that we have variety and we can choose and make our own decisions. It just makes me sad when people use it for that.
Makes me so sad.
Because there are people that look at reviews. I just always caution you against that because if you really do a deep dive on a Goodreads, sometimes you'd be like, what
There's
is
so
that?
much weird drama that has no role in here. It's like these are people that are trying to get their books out into the world, and this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I know as a Goodreads user, I've used it to kind of keep track of my library. I really skip the ratings unless I really fall in love with a book, then I will give it like a 5-star review. Otherwise, if I don't like it, I'm not going to rate it. I'm not going to review it. Like that's just my preference.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know.
I know. I use it very personally as opposed to like, I don't think that anything that I just don't even know. It's not a job I have. You know, I'm not writing for the New York Times. I don't necessarily know. We talk about books we like on here. We made a very specific decision to not talk about books we don't like because somebody else might love them. I don't need to take that out of the realm for you. So enjoy it. There's one person we've talked about. I don't like Jonathan Franzen. I'm talking about you. I stand by that. I don't care. But everything else, you know what? Read what you want to read. Do what you want to do.
And honestly, if you listen to us a lot, I think you're going to love this book. I think there's some fantastic truths in there. I think there's some things that are going to blow your head off. I think it's just going to... Wait, that sounded weird. That's a weird expression.
Blow your head off.
Yeah.
Knock your socks off.
That's better. Although that's weird too.
That's weird too.
You start thinking too much about language and you go
down
a hole.
Blowing your head off, it seems more possible than knocking my socks off.
Right.
How is that happening?
Yeah. How is that happening?
I don't know. That reminded me though this weekend that we were somewhere and Mason had to get dressed up and he kept yelling at me from the other room that they were babies. He doesn't like to wear socks. He's like, these are baby socks. They don't even fit. I'm like, I just bought them. So confused until we were at the event and I looked down and he had the feet. They had them on backwards. Like the ankle part was on the top of his foot. And I'm like, well, no wonder they feel like baby socks. You didn't even put them on right.
No.
That's how often he does not wear socks.
Okay.
He was confused by socks construction.
Sure. I mean, everyone comes to things with their own perspective.
See?
And I always enjoy hearing Mason's perspective on the world.
Still going to be difficult to knock those socks off. I'm just saying. I don't know.
I would like to hear once Mason discovers the existence of Goodreads, his hot take on it. Because I think he'll just have something very succinct that will express what it is.
I can tell you what it'll be.
What?
And it would just be, that's stupid. Why do I care? I don't know that person. That's what he would be confused about. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
So why are, because he also has a little, you know, he's 7. So he has a little bit of that narcissism where he's like, why would they be telling me that? I don't even know them. Like he would take it very personally. Like they're telling me I'm not going to like this book. How do they don't know me?
I mean, it's a great point.
It is a great point.
It's a great point.
It's a great point. You got to get on board
Let's go
with
through life thinking like Mason.
Mason's hot take on parades. Why? They're just walking and I'm supposed to watch? Yep. I don't understand the point.
That's a good point, buddy.
I don't either, bud.
Yeah.
I don't either. He opted out.
He nails it.
Yeah,
he just really does.
I don't want to be involved.
All that to say, it's a real good book.
All that to say, nor all reviews proceed. That makes me sad because people work really hard to get that out there.
Well, and then I went down a hole for a while because I was so confused. Like, how could someone hate this book so much? Then I was like, are these like religious bigots? Like, who are these people?
Right,
you know? And then I just started reading some, and it's just like, I didn't read it, but I saw this thing on Twitter, and she sucks. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Seriously?
Wow. Just that.
Way to give a hot take, sir.
Hot take.
God.
Way to give a hot take. I can't remember what authors talked about that. And you see it more on Amazon than you do on Goodreads, but people saying like, I gave it 1 star because my book came damaged.
It was Chelsea G. Summers.
Yes.
Where she was like, why are you reviewing this? You didn't read it. Yeah.
The cover was damaged. Like,
that's not me.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. People are going to look at it and be like, oh, 1 star. I shouldn't read that.
Exactly.
Because the cover was crinkled. Infuriating.
Yes.
Okay. Well, my other genre pick this week, it's a little departure for me.
Oh.
It would fall in like the horror.
Horror? The horror as in, wait, no, the Jewish book, the Torah, but there's something that's the horror. Oh my God. You just turned into a different person in front of my eyes, and I don't know.
That's how much I don't read this genre. Horror. Horror, which is a whole different thing we'll talk about next week. Horror, and or like paranormal fiction. So it is a fiction book.
This is a departure for you.
Yeah, but it's a departure. So that's why I put in the other genre. But it is fiction.
Okay.
It was published in 2020. It's called The Return by Rachel Harrison. Amy Gentry, when we talked to her.
That's where I know it from.
Yes.
I recognize that name.
Recommended it. So we've got Elise, Julie, Molly, and May, who are best friends. And their lives, have gone different directions. They're adults. They've moved to different places, but they still stay in touch. Until Julie disappears. She's recently gotten married, kind of very quickly. They don't know a lot about the new husband. And she disappears and they don't know where she is. And all of the other friends, except for Elise, over a period of time are like, okay, she's gone. Mm-hmm. And they have a funeral for her, a memorial service. But Elise in her bones is like, I just don't feel like I would know. But they think she's just sort of holding on because she doesn't want to face the fact that their friend is gone.
Yeah.
Well, after 2 years, surprise, she reappears with no memory of what's happened over the last 2 years. She can't tell you where she was. She can't tell you what happened. She can't tell you anything except that she looks different. She's lost a lot of weight. She's got like decaying teeth. She's got a lot of like physical things. But you can tell she's trying really hard to be the old Julie. So they decide they're going to book a weekend away, these 4 friends, and kind of have some time with her. Maybe she'll remember some things. But either way, just get to see her again. And they all get to be together. So they book it at this inn that's themed. Like, it has different themed rooms. It's trying to get its start as like a fun place to come for a weekend. It's got a movie theater on premise. It's got a pool. It's got a restaurant, a bar, like all. So it's going to be this great, just relaxing getaway. Not too stressful, not too many people. And then it goes south in a lot of crazy ways. Let's just say there's blood. There's murder.
For horror, I would hope there's blood.
For horror, there's blood. There's murder. There's other beings.
Oh.
But at the center of it is also these friendship dynamics.
That's cool.
With the 4 friends, and 2 of them may be feeling closer than the other 2, and how different they all are, and how you adjust when maybe you grew up in college but now you're adults and your lives look different and they want different things and they're doing different things. So I loved the book for a lot of reasons. I loved all of that writing. I love the idea of pairing that kind of idea that might get that sort of chick lit.
Yes.
I'm using air quotes even though no one can see that because I hate that term. But it would be kind of like that, but then with this horror idea. And I don't read a lot of horror, so keep that in mind. But I was gripped, and it wasn't too much for me by any means. And I wasn't, it was fascinating, and I loved the way that it was written. I will probably read more in that genre now because to me, it's interesting to think of writing that way. My brain doesn't work that way. So to come up with these things that are so like otherworldly and this whole other storyline that you could wrap into something that's so realistic felt really different to me. So I enjoyed it for all that. So I think if you're looking for something to maybe kind of tip into horror, if you're kind of into that paranormal a little bit, you'll really, I think, like this book. It has some really interesting technique, structure. I love the underlying storyline because you got this whole other thing happening at the same time. There's also this really great thread about letting go. Like when do we know when it's okay to let go, or when is it not okay to let go? Like when should we be fighting our instinct and helping someone out? So it's fascinating. I loved it. It's a quick read. Highly recommend. Big departure for me.
But I
horror,
love that,
not horror.
I love that you discovered what I like so much about like sci-fi, for example, is the metaphor aspect. The fact that it can develop all these worlds and situations that you may not be able to relate to, but yet there's something that's metaphorical about it and related to you. And perhaps it's the focus on relationships. It's the focus on the when to let go.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's kind of what happened in that book. Is
Absolutely.
They were able to use horror as a metaphor.
Horror.
Yeah.
As a metaphor. Exactly. That's exactly right. And, I think that that's one of the things that I love about doing this podcast, about talking to authors. And I hope that we're conveying is that there's so many things that you might initially think, no, I wouldn't like that.
Right.
And I think if we didn't do this, maybe I wouldn't have broken out necessarily of some of my reading ruts. But exploring, it's just so much more. It makes you think about it in a totally different way, especially if you don't normally read that genre. It can be so interesting to get into that mindset and to think about someone creating something that way. I loved that part of it.
I think about that a lot, that before we started doing this podcast, I didn't read a lot of nonfiction. I didn't read a lot of memoirs, and because we had set it up in this way that we were going to talk about all these different genres of things, I started really stretching like what I would typically read. And I'm so glad that I found things I would have never thought of and, have changed me, my reading, my writing. Like it's terrific.
Well, and I like the idea that we aren't just a straight across review. Like we're not just taking this one book in itself, talking about it against all other books. It's like a universe of things. And this is a puzzle piece that fits for me today. And it might be something different tomorrow, which is back to the Goodreads discussion, why it's not really that valuable to say this was terrible.
Right.
I feel like the only time that it's valuable is to say, like, this was great, you really should try it.
Exactly.
Like, here's someone coming from someone who doesn't normally read horror. Here's a good reason to.
So basically, we're really good at this.
We're so good at this.
So good at this.
So good at this. We created a new genre called horror. So erotica, watch out, because I think it's, I'm thinking.
Like a fusion. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, pop culture, bringing the bad bitchery, hardcore. It's a brand new movie. Came out on Netflix this week. It's called Gunpowder Milkshake.
I have not even heard of this.
Well,
what a
hold
weird
on.
name, and I like it.
Yeah. And let me start by prefacing and saying this is not going to be an awards contender. This is not an art film. This is not cinema.
Right.
This is a movie that knows what it is and plays with that, which is an epic action movie featuring a huge roster of bad bitches.
Nice.
Yes. So Sam, the main character, she's played by Karen Gillan, and those that are in that love the Marvel universe, she plays Nebula.
Okay.
But she wears so much makeup you may not recognize her as a regular person.
Okay.
Sam is a hit woman, and she has messed up because she has killed the son of a mobster.
Oh, uh-oh.
So she is sent on a mission to get back in her employer's good graces, and her employer is called The Firm.
Ooh.
It's a group of old white dudes who are running everything.
Well, I would assume because it's called The Firm.
Right.
Yeah.
But on this mission where she's trying to redeem herself, she finds a young girl who needs her help. So she decides to go rogue and save this young girl.
Oh.
There's that level of the story. Then there's another, which is that her mom, Scarlett, was a hit woman who disappeared when Sam was a teen. And Sam's aunts are a group of librarians who man a library which is full of assassin tools.
Oh, my gosh.
Let me tell you who some of these people are. Lena Headey is the mom. She's from Game of Thrones. Angela Bassett is an aunt. Michelle Yeoh is an aunt. And Carla Gugino is an aunt. So this whole network of bad bitches gets activated to save this young girl named Emily. This is a super stylish movie. Like the aesthetics of it are just beautiful. This is violent, but this is also funny and playful. think a little bit Tarantino, a little bit Alias, a little bit 80s action movies.
Ooh.
There's all of that in here. And I chose it for this theme because of all the bad bitches.
Yeah.
But also because most of them are older women. Like Lena Headey is 47. Angela Bassett's almost 60. Michelle Yeoh and Carla Gugino are in their 50s. And we see them all just kick ass.
Love
it's
it.
Wonderful. Also, I think this was made with us in mind because the central location is this stunning library with books that hide every tool that they need.
Yes.
So all the exchanges are talking about books because like, oh, you need an Austen. And then you open up Jane Austen and there's a weapon just for you. And oh, you need a Virginia Woolf. Open it up. There it is. And all the librarians are dressed in sort of retro outfits or menswear.
I'm in.
So I think that's all we need to know.
I love everything
I
about
think
that.
the tagline of this should be, are you ready for bad bitches? Are you ready
Yeah.
for the bad bitches?
Yes.
Yeah.
It should be that. Wow. That's great.
I just love the idea of these older women kicking
Yes.
ass. Yeah.
Well, my pop culture pick is also a movie on Netflix.
Is it?
It's also not an awards contender, but damn was it enjoyable.
That's where mine was.
That's where we're at, okay? This movie is called Good on Paper, and it stars Eliza Schlesinger, who is
I've
a
seen
stand-up
this
comedian.
advertised, yeah.
And Margaret Cho is in it. And it is actually the real-life, somewhat fictionalized story of Eliza and her ex, who went to Great Lakes to convince her that he was someone else. He committed all kinds of fraud and lies in order to be her boyfriend. And what I love about this is that she, if you do any research after you watch it, she explains the parts that are real and not real. But she takes on in the movie this kind of fantasy of like playing out a revenge. And it is phenomenal. It's great. It also reminded me of us because it feels like very true to life. Like we would be like, this is a great idea. And then we would start down the path and be like, what are we doing? I don't know what to do. We fucked up. We should not be doing this. Why are we, why is this guy tied up? This should not be what we're doing.
But we would have tons of Excel sheets before we started anything.
Yes. Yeah. We would have thought through all the scenarios.
Through it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, as you would expect, it's funny because she's a stand-up comedian. She has little bits of stand-up comedy in there that you can see that she pulled, where she's kind of talking about some of the things that happened. It's just funny in the story. It's funny commentary on some dating. There's just some great supporting characters in it. It's kind of an interesting look at some of the Hollywood side, especially for a comedian that's trying to make it. And overall, you just get this idea that like, good for you. Like being a bad bitch, mean like, no, this is not okay.
Yeah.
I don't like what happened. There's also an element of it that plays out that makes you sad because you realize that that's exactly how that would go. And I won't tell you which part, but so fun. It's funny. It's a quick watch. I really enjoyed it. And I think you walk away just feeling like, yeah, and I've always kind of enjoyed her stand-up comedy. I've always thought that she was kind of a bad bitch in that sense. Like she's never really cared, what was said about her, or she's very open and vocal about critiques, like who she take it from and who she won't, So I've always kind of thought she was a bit of a bad bitch.
Yeah.
But then Good on Paper just proved it.
Well, this is good to know because I've seen it advertised. I wasn't sure if I would dig it or not.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Who's the guy that plays the?
Oh my God, I cannot remember.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a popular actor, but I
Yeah.
can't think of. And that's what's so great about it is like, and that's what they say through the movie. The whole reason it's called Good on Paper is like he's a very attractive person. He looks great on paper. He's got a great job. He's got a great family. He says all the right things. He does all the right things. It's the same trope, if you will, that we talk about all the time. Is like, oh, he's perfect. What's wrong with you?
Right.
Why aren't you making this work?
Which is such a bad bitch move to recognize that he's not good.
Yes.
And to be like, no, this isn't going to happen.
And the moment that I realized it is that she discovers that he lies about something small and it really bothers her. And he kind of has to come back from that. And I thought, gosh, that right there kind of proves her bad bitchery because my instinct would have been like, oh yeah,
just let
it's
it
not
pass.
that big of a deal.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm making too big of a deal out of this.
Right.
Like, we talk all the time about red flags, but then we teach women to ignore them. So
Exactly.
they actually serve no purpose because it's always us being unstable or crazy.
It's always almost like a looking back, like, oh, that was a red flag and I didn't see it or I didn't act on it.
But if you had told someone at that time, like, I'm not going to date him because of this, they'd be like, okay. You're a little
like,
picky.
listen, look how attractive he is.
Yeah,
look how
settle
good
down.
he is.
He's great. You're just being particular.
Ooh, okay. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just for that, it's funny. And there's some great supporting roles in it that are even better. So,
Excellent.
yeah. like I said, not a big time investment. And it's fun.
That's where my head's been at lately.
Yes. Sometimes you need that.
I just need some, give me some Marvel stuff and let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just give me some fun. Just some fun. I'm fun lady. I don't want to be cult lady.
No.
I don't want to be cable guy lady.
No,
just
don't.
want to be fun lady.
Just want to be fun.
Yeah.
Just want to be recognize the red flag lady.
Yeah.
That's who I want to be.
And heed it.
And heed it.
Not just recognize
heed the red flag
and
lady.
not then be like, no, that's you. That's
right.
That's a reflection of you, not him. You're thinking that's a red flag.
Bad bitch is believing in yourself, lady.
Yes. That's it.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
It is. It's trusting your instincts.
Uh-huh.
They say that all the time, but then they teach you how not to trust your instincts.
They teach you not to. Yeah.
Because then they say, oh, it's your feelings getting in the way.
Right.
You're not being logical. Guess what? I can have feelings and be logical. It's possible.
Can.
It's possible.
It is possible.
It is possible.
And we're good at it.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Working on it.
Working on it.
Working on
100% that bitch.
100% that bitch.
I love that you mentioned that Mike brought that up just out of nowhere the other day when he thought you needed a little confidence boost.
Yeah, he did.
Which I'm glad you trained Mike.
I did.
To the school of Lizzo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really fundamentally why our relationship works, and this would probably be scary to him if he heard this. He doesn't listen every week, so I feel comfortable saying this. That if he knew that so many times that maybe I'm a little bit annoyed, or as all long-term relationships, you're like, what is happening today? Yeah. And then he'll throw something in there that's so unexpected, and I'm like, God damn, you know me so well. And it just completely rights the ship. And that was one of those times where, he was like, what they say, you're 100% that bitch. I was like, you're right.
Damn it, I
am. Oh my God, how did I forget? Mm-hmm. He's really good at that. He must know. He knows the times.
Yeah, he does.
Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, I'm losing her. Better throw out some Lizzo.
It's a smart man.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, bad bitchery.
Bad bitchery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what we should have called it.
We
bad bitchery. That's great. As opposed to bad bitches. And horror.
Horror.
That's what you get from me.
The hip new genre of horror.
Horror featuring bad bitches. Well, the good news is that we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we will.
And every Wednesday.
Yeah.
We will not leave you hanging.
No, we will
not.
not.
Bad bitches don't leave other people hanging.
Bad bitches go through with what they say they're going to go through. They follow up with their promises. They keep their promises. And we are doing that with you.
If you had a bad biff, that's a different story.
She wouldn't do it.
No, she wouldn't.
No.
But we will. We'll be back next Wednesday.
And until then,
happy reading.